Radio host Marty Sheargold has been forced to apologise this morning after making a series of misogynistic remarks about the Matildas and women's sport in general.
You know what they remind me of? Year 10 girls.
We're used to criticism, but sometimes the comments cross the line.
Ladies and gentlemen, what a crazy story this has turned out to be. Everybody seems to be talking about it. It's absolutely massive, huge, humongous, giant. A radio host in Australia has said something absolutely outrageous, damning, sexist, disgusting. He's dared to comment on female soccer. He said some horrific things, some outrageous things, and we need to talk about it because we need to work out whether or not it is actually free speech or if it's just hate speech. Is this hateful? Is it disgusting? The gentleman in question, his name is Marty Sheargold. Now, Marty Sheargold is a comedian and actor that I've never heard of, so he's obviously doing quite well, but he is on the radio. That's exciting. He was watching, or he was, at least his hosts, the other hosts of his show, were watching the Matildas play. Now, the Matildas are the female soccer team that represents Australia. Now, they were playing in the She Believes Cup, which is, let's be honest, possibly the gayest name of all time. I mean, come on. Ladies, if you want to be taken seriously, don't be called the She Believes Cup. Have it be called like the Big Flaps Cup or something like that. Something good, like the Big Hanker and Clits Cup. Whatever you want to call it. Just not the She Believes Cup. It's just, no one's going to take you seriously. Anyway, they were playing in that particular competition, and Marty Sheargold thought that it was quite boring. He didn't want to hear about the Matildas.
There's two things that happened that really changed this story. Was that I learnt that this show that Marty Sheargold is on, I think it was called The Marty Sheargold Show on a channel called Triple M here in Australia, is a comedy show. And he talks a lot of shit about a lot of people and basically plays the character of saying a few outrageous things, okay? That's what he does. And the second thing that I learned was that the Matildas are not currently an in-form team. In fact, they've lost to Japan in the She Believes She Has a Big Click Cup over in America, and they've also lost to the Americans. Now, the Americans fielded a side that were a B-string side, or not the strongest side that they could possibly put out there, and they still flogged the Australian team, beat them comfortably. So, here's what's happening right now, because a lot of people have been saying, hey, hang on, he can't say this about the Matildas. Last year in the World Cup, they played so well, they came fourth, etc., etc. And they did play well. And the entire country of Australia was captivated. I didn't watch any of it. I didn't give a shit. I don't enjoy soccer. So that's my argument. But I've learned that it's a comedy show and the Matildas currently are playing like absolute shit. It's not me having a crack at women. They're playing shit for soccer players, not for women. If it was a male side, you'd say the exact same fucking thing.
In football or soccer, it's been a nightmare tournament for the Matildas over the last 3 or 4 days over in the US.
You know what they remind me of? Year 10 girls. Now, I'm sorry to undermine the whole sport, but that's what I think of it, so you can stick it up your ass.
So we're playing in the She Believes Cup.
Oh, she believes in what? It better be men.
We're 12 months out from Australia hosting the Women's Asian Cup, so hopefully we have a bit of runway to improve before that comes around.
The Asian Cup. I'd rather hammer a nail through the head of my watch that. Got any men's sport?
Yeah, I do. Baseball.
He's just being a dick and he's trying to make people laugh. That's it. Does he actually believe that? I don't know. We'd have to go back and have a look at what he said about the Matildas when they were killing it. Was he saying the exact same things then, or was he positive? I'm not sure. I think if we can give this bloke, or at least allow us to understand that he's a comedian talking shit, then who cares? If he was on stage saying these things, would you give a shit? Would anyone actually care? Or does anyone actually give a shit about this right now? And the day before, he was talking more shit. He was talking about endometriosis. I think endometriosis is something to do with inflammation and throughout the ovaries. Is that right in saying that? Yeah, okay. Marty Sheargold on the day before this show that he got in trouble for, he said that endometriosis is made up. But if you listen to what he said it as he's obviously joking. Everyone knows that is not a made up thing. Obviously. He's talking shit. And oftentimes people talk shit, all right? And if you've never heard someone talk shit, then you have a shit friend group. You don't have fun friends. If you've never heard someone talk all manner, that you should hear the absolute shit that I talk to my wife about things that, and she talks to me in the exact same way. We talk so much absolute rubbish and garbage to each other that we don't believe it all, but we say it to make each other laugh. And I think that's what Sheargold was trying to do here. And he has been sacked from his job too, which is, pretty full on. Like, that's someone's livelihood. Was he employed to make jokes? Has he made jokes that he can't? You're not allowed to make those type of jokes. If he was talking about male soccer and he said, and the Australian team suck balls, and he said, I'd rather drive a nail through the end of my penis than watch the male soccer team play, would he still be in trouble? I guess that's an interesting question. Scandal hit radio star is blasted for disgraceful X-rated sexist. That's just sounds like one of my YouTube titles. Sexist outbursts about the Matildas as Aussie star says, I was in disbelief. The Triple M radio host Marty Sheargold has been slammed for controversial comments he's made on air about the Matildas football team and women's sport, with many fans calling for him to be sacked. Now, he did say in there that he would rather talk about men's sport. Now, I always like to use this as an example. If you look at women's MMA, it is fantastic. There is some incredible competitors when it comes to women's MMA. Just recently, my wife and I were down in Sydney, UFC, and the co-main event was Zhang Wei Li fighting against this American lady. She is a fierce competitor, and everyone in the entire arena was cheering for her. They loved this fighter. So now the lady she was competing against had just recovered from cancer, and I think it's bad that Zhang Wei Li picked on her, but she did. She fucking she'd been recovered for a while. She's not running around with a bald head, not looking like me. It was a great competition. She has an incredible physique. She's this tiny little, she looks like a gymnast. She's this muscly little thing, and she is extremely talented in what she is able to do. Her striking is phenomenal for someone of her size. She's extremely powerful, but we don't hear people bringing up people like Zhang Wei Li when we talk about women's sport, and I think that is a shame because she is an extremely talented individual. We always bring up team sports, but maybe that's an Australian thing. I'm not too sure. So, do I personally think that women's sport is shit? No, not at all. I thoroughly enjoy women's MMA. Not in like a creepy way, but just in a normal way. The comedian and actor was speaking on the Marty Sheargold show on Monday, hours after the Matildas had been defeated by the US 2-1 in the She Believes Cup. Still a terrible name. The result came 3 days after the Matildas were embarrassed 4-0, which interim coach Tom Shamani described as un-Australian. Interesting. Why? Why do you think it's okay to tell women they're un-Australian, Tom? Fellow show host Troy Ellis brought up the topic, and Sheargold gave his 2 cents on the national team. So this is Sheargold talking. There's something wrong with the Matildas. They had a wonderful tournament out here in 2023 for the FIFA World Cup, where we all fell in love with them, even though they didn't make the quarters. Okay, so he's saying that we all fell in love with them. And then he goes on to say, you know what they remind me of? Year 10 girls, all the infighting and friendship issues. The coach hates me and I hate training and Michelle's being a bitch. I'm sorry if that undermines your whole sport. Okay, so I think this whole clip that's been going very viral has actually missed quite a bit. So people really jumped on and attacked old Sheargold. His comments sparked fierce reaction on social media, with many people calling for him to be fired. One commenter on X wrote, "Disgusting, he's a piece of shit and he should be sacked. Sorry you took offence at my poor attempt at comedy. This is not an apology, and it is disgraceful that Marty Sheargold is still employed." If you look at all of this and you go back and you look through it, is it an appropriate thing for old Sheargold to say as a statement of something that he actually believes? No. But if it's a joke, if he doesn't actually believe it, then it's fine. You should be able to joke about things. You should be able to, particularly on a comedy show, say outrageous things. If he's a politician and he's saying these things, then okay, that's not cool. That's not very nice. That's not appropriate. That's not helping women's sport. But if you're a comedian, who gives a fuck?